evening, Zimbabwe. This is Change Radio News. Today is Thursday, the 6th of November 2025, and the news is read by CP Westmanda. And here are the news headlines for today. ZANU-PF ministers and judges in secret plot to extend Mnangagwa's term. African Union condemns Tanzania elections. Kanyemba Women's Chicken Slice celebration exposes deep poverty and underdevelopment. And now for the news in detail. A major political and judicial scandal is brewing over allegations of a plot to illegally extend Emmerson Mnangagwa's term to 2030. Senior ZANU-PF officials, ministers and judges are allegedly colluding to bypass the constitution. The scheme involves filing the proxy court application to the Constitutional Court, which would then be dismissed, a move designed to pave the way for Mnangagwa's extended rule without a required referendum. One senior government official called it a serious threat to the constitutional order. A senior lawyer labeled the plot sinister and treacherous. Prominent lawyer advocate Thabani Mpofu added to the intrigue, posting about a bizarre dream involving a flawed court application and rumors of a $3 million payment to facilitate the process. The African Union has released a scathing report on Tanzania's 2025 general elections, describing them as flawed and lacking credibility. The African Union Election Observation Mission, led by former Botswana President Mokgweetsi Masisi, highlighted multiple irregularities, including arrests of opposition leaders, disqualification of candidates, media restrictions, internet shutdowns, and widespread election violence. The report also criticized the biased electoral administration, low voter turnout, and limited participation of women and youth. The African Union concluded that the elections did not meet its principles or international standards and called for urgent constitutional and political reforms. A video of Kanyemba women celebrating and thanking Auxilia Mnangagwa for bringing them chicken slices sparked concern over rising poverty levels in Zimbabwe. One of the women in the video said she had never eaten chicken slice in her 37 years, exposing the deep divide between ZANU-PF elites and citizens in remote, underdeveloped areas. The incident comes after Mnangagwa claimed Zimbabwe had reduced poverty. Critics say the ruling party's trend of spending millions on fast food handouts during political events shows misplaced priorities. Analysts have urged government to invest in sustainable development instead of publicity stunts. Change Radio spoke to development practitioner Alderman Tungamirai Matsokere, who said,
"Reducing poverty is not giving handouts. It requires a process that enables people to shape their own future." Mnangagwa recently told the World Summit that Zimbabwe has cut its poverty rate, but the same report says that progress is constrained by cohesive measures, climate shocks, and limited access to development finance. In other words, the government is its own constraints. It is the biggest barrier to further poverty reduction and development in general. Development means improving society. Society comprises of people. So development means enabling people to fight poverty. Development is an enabling issue rather than a providing issue. It is done by people, not to people. It's a process of change that enables people to take charge of their own destinies and realize their potential. Yet here in Zimbabwe, The regime has failed to nurture the country's principal assets, which are economic resources, natural resources, and human capital. When these enabling principal assets are not nurtured, the poverty reduction narrative becomes a political slogan rather than reality.
Amalgamated Rural Teachers Union of Zimbabwe, ATU's Deputy Secretary General Munyarazi Masiwa added that
it is so disgusting that the state of Zimbabwe finds comfort in lying about the economy of Zimbabwe. They are lying that they have managed to reduce poverty by more than half, which is a blue lie. We are seeing people sleeping in the streets every day trying to make ends meet. We are seeing security guards who are not affording transport to go back home. So every day they sleep in parks in Harare so that they wait for the next day so that they report for duty. We are seeing teachers staying at schools in classrooms, sleeping in classroom. They cannot afford transport to go home or rent house. We are seeing alarming things that are happening in our communities. We are seeing people dying because they cannot afford to buy tablets to manage blood pressure. These are clear indications that poverty is within our communities and it is on an alarming increase. Recently, we have witnessed the people in Kanyemba who were ululating at their top of the voice saying that they have not managed to eat chicken slice for the past 2 years. This is a clear indication that poverty indeed is within us. At the same time, we are seeing individuals who are dishing out resources like cars willy-nilly, instead of channeling such resources where development is expected to take place. Such resources can be channeled to hospitals, to schools, to build community projects that will help our generation and the next generation. These gentlemen, these men and women in government should always be reminded that this country is not only for us. It is not ending today. There is a generation that will come, and that generation needs to benefit from our efforts. So we encourage the government to know where to prioritize. This is taxpayers' money that they are spending. It was possible for the first lady to go to Kanyemba and construct a clinic, construct a school for the people in Kanyemba to celebrate. But people are being manipulated day and night. Why are they doing so? They need to be stopped.
Finance Minister Mthuli Ncube claims that many Zimbabweans have reached middle income status and are spending up to $9 a day has drawn sharp criticism. Speaking at the 2026 pre-budget seminar in Bulawayo, Ncube said Zimbabwe was on track to achieve its Vision 2030 goal of becoming an upper middle income economy. But economists say the minister's remarks do not reflect reality as most citizens continue to struggle with unemployment, low salaries and rising inflation. Many workers earn below $250 a month, while the majority in the informal sector struggle to survive amid a collapsing local currency. ZANU-PF chairperson Ophamchinguri Kashiri is reportedly plotting to block Sports Minister Anselm Sanyatwe from rising in the party's central committee. Sources say she is pushing for men-believed founder Justice Matsatire to be co-opted, sidelining Sanyatwe, a former army commander and ally of Vice President Constantino Chiwenga. The move is seen as an attempt to protect Muchinguri Kashiri's influence in Manicaland, with reports that money is being used to secure support for Matsatire while blocking Sanyatwe. The development exposes growing tensions within ZANU-PF ahead of the 2030 term extension agenda. Speaker of the National Assembly, Jacob Mudenda, has called on parliamentarians to strengthen oversight on government spending to stop the looting of public funds by politically connected individuals, including those linked to ZANU-PF. Speaking at a pre-budget seminar in Bulawayo, Mudenda said Parliament must go beyond approving budgets and ensure proper monitoring of procurement and expenditure. He warned that ignoring Auditor General's reports betrays taxpayers. Mudenda also attributed government's failure to pay contractors to weak revenue collection, noting that over 85% of small businesses are untaxed. He urged the use of artificial intelligence to enhance tax administration and transparency. Finance Minister Mthuli Ncube has announced that the government has purchased the Monomotapa Crown Plaza Hotel in Harare to accommodate members of parliament. Speaking at a pre-budget seminar in Bulawayo, Ncube said the move is intended to reduce hotel expenses and save public funds when Parliament is in session. The 182-bed hotel was acquired in August from African Sun through the Public Service Pension Fund. Critics question whether the purchase will truly save money, pointing out last year's unfinished government villas built for the same purpose. ZANU-PF is reportedly considering pardoning former Central Committee member Blessed Geza, who was expelled for undermining President Emerson Mnangagwa and promoting factionalism. The former Liberation War veteran has remained a vocal critic, exposing alleged corruption and rallying public support. Analysts say Geza poses a significant challenge to ZANU-PF as the party pursues its 2030 agenda. Residents of Glenview, one of Harare's cholera's hotspots, are protesting the planned demolition of the public borehole. The borehole serves over 2,800 people, and locals have petitioned Mayor Jacob Mafume to halt its removal. A video of traveler vlogger Daud Akuzada gaining access to the Mbuya Nehanda statue in Harare has gone viral. The government classified that the monument is under the Ministry of Home Affairs and Cultural Heritage and is protected by strict preservation and security rules. Authorities say tourism officers will now be deployed at major heritage sites to guide visitors and prevent similar incidents in the future. In economic news, Australian miner Prospect Resources has sold its step-aside lithium project in Zimbabwe to Fatima Resources for up to $2.2 million, marking its exit from the country to focus on copper assets in Zambia. The step-aside mine near Harare was acquired in 2022 and hosts high-grade lithium. Prospect will receive an initial $850,000 with further payments if milestones are met within 2 years. Proceeds will support exploration at its Mumbeji copper project in Zambia. UK-based Ariana Resources has begun drilling at its Dokwe Gold project in Cholocho, which hosts over 1 million ounces of gold. The program aims to expand resources, identify high-grade zones, and support feasibility studies for potential production of 100,000 ounces annually. And in news from local communities, High Court Judge Justice Rogers Manyangadze has granted $100 bail to notorious armed robber Godfrey Josi and his accomplices Andrew Nyamutowa and Prince Nyamanza. The trio faces over 20 robbery cases and is accused of stealing $10,000 and a revolver from a house in Eastleigh, Harare in June. Despite CCTV evidence linking them to the crime, the court ruled the state had not presented a strong case to deny bail. Justice Manyangadze warned that weak opposition to bail in violent cases undermines the justice system. In international news, after U.S. President Donald Trump accused Muslims in Nigeria of killing Christians, New York has elected a new mayor who is Muslim. Zoran Mamdani of Ugandan descent won the mayoral race on Tuesday, defeating the former Governor Andrew Cuomo and Republican Curtis Sliwa. In his victory speech on Wednesday, Mamdani condemned Islamophobia targeting his campaign and Muslim New Yorkers, declaring that any attacks on Muslims would have to face him and his supporters. In a related result, Trump's preferred Republican candidate was also defeated by Democrat Nikki Sherrill in New Jersey. And finally, in sports news, FIFA has appointed football legends Bruce Grobbler, Peter Ndlovu, Benjamin Mwaruwari, and Nomsa Boys Moyo as official ambassadors. The move aims to promote Zimbabwean football, inspire young players, and reconnect the game with its heritage. Grobler will handle international relations, Ndlovu youth development, Marwari grassroots football, and Moyo women's football. To end the news bulletin, here are the headlines once again. ZANU-PF ministers and judges in secret plot to extend Mnangagwa's term. African Union condemns Tanzania elections. Kanyemba Women's Chicken Slice celebration exposes deep poverty and underdevelopment. And that concludes our bulletin for today. We thank you for listening. From myself, Sipiwe Spanda, and the entire team at Change Radio, we wish you a good night.